Hello and welcome. I'm Raziel, and how is everyone today? As you can probably hear in my voice, it's a little bit croaky. I do apologize for that. I've got a cold coming, so honey, ginger wine, best cure. Anyway, so how are you all today? I hope you're doing well. If not, please remember the road might be long, but stay the course, my friends. It always gets better at the end. Now, uh, my next two videos, this one and my next one, is about whether or not GW is manipulating you. Now, I have to say that at the start, this is all hypothetical and my opinion, so take it with a pinch of salt, but let's see. Now, here's the thing. This is more directed at the anti-Games Workshop crowd, let's say the right. I will be doing the left and what we would say is the Games Workshop or, Snowflake, so this is the chuds. So, but as always, this is a central video, just please don't think I'm picking on one side over the other. I'll be doing tomorrow's video on Thursday, not tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. Anyway, here's the thing. Honestly, in my opinion, it looks like there is a manipulation tactic happening within Games Workshop. How even I think some of the loudest of the anti may actually be under their fold. I know this sounds weird, okay? And it seems a little bit, off. Why would they want bad publicity? Why would they want people speaking up against them? Well, the first thing is you've got to kind of consider what are they after. It's a business, they're after money. So you'd go, hey, well, bad publicity, that's not going to bring them money. Well, in this day and age, anger, hate, all these things make clicks. I know this in my top videos, and I'm only a small channel and have angry videos, and I understand that this is it. I try not to do it because I want to talk about happy stuff. I want to talk about stuff I enjoy. I don't really want to end up losing my temper because of something, right? There's also what they produce and how they produce the news to get reactions. The price increase, the quality in games, quality in the codexes. But they always put in something which is kind of small. And like I said, I look at the macro scale here. I don't look at the micro. I look at the macro, right? I look at the bigger picture here. And we seem to be designed to annoy people, to get people to watch their videos. These people who are anti-Games Workshop, to watch these videos, to look at these codexes, and have a short-sighted opinion on it, and therefore get the news out of the codex or the game that's coming out, rather than studying the big picture, which would actually reduce everything else, right? And so we see this quite often. We saw it with the female custodies. Right? We saw it with the Outlaw Law. Okay? These are small things. If you look at the Adeptus Custodes Codex, it is a very bad codex. It's just awful. The story of Kesh, that story is, I would say, would be written by someone in year 10, doing their GCSE's creative writing. That's just how poor quality it is. It's not very good. To me, those were the things that people should have focused on, but they didn't. What they focused on is, of course, Kesh being female, a female custodes. That, to me, is a small problem. The bigger problem was just the lack of quality overall. And if they can get you shouting at that small thing and ignore everything else, which the more bigger problems, the things that are more important. I know people can say, but the law is important, but trust me on this. When it comes to books like this, quality of writing and quality of rule set is more important whether or not there is a female custodes or not, okay? That is absolutely true. And I don't know why people seem to think that's me wanting female custodians. No, I want a good quality book. That's what I want. Everything else is just flavor text or whatever, right? I want it to be good. So when they got people shouting at the female custodians, they got away with producing a poor quality codex. They got away with poor quality writing because people were more concerned about the female custodians. And of those who were, let's say the tourists, I'm just using these terms because it's easier than using political terms, such as left and right, because both sides have same arguments, okay? You do get some people who want female space marines who are on the right, and you got people on the left who don't want female space marines, okay? So we'll just call them tourists and the other side chuds, right? That's it. So And they would buy it just out of pure spite to prove the others wrong. You see what I mean? They got away with poor quality because no one focused. Well, no one is hyperbolic, but you see what I mean. Focused on the more important issues. And they get away with this time and time again because they know how to rile people up. In my opinion, I can't keep saying that just to cover my ass. Right. Then there's the other thing, which is what is less subtle. Like, this isn't even subtle at this point, and I don't know why people aren't picking up on it. When they do these things, what they're doing is creating a conversation around them in the wargaming zone, in the wargaming hobby, right? The wargaming hobby is very big. It's huge. Warhammer Games Workshop is not the hobby. They are not the hobby, okay? What is the hobby is wargaming. It's Wild West Exodus. Doc Holliday, please. I told you I'm going to mention him every time I mention Wild West Exodus. I want Doc Holliday. And there is Kings of War, Firefight, Conquest, Conflict 47. It's a massive hobby. That is what it is. So if they can get you talking about them, you're not talking about their competition. I know people say, "Oh, it's competition and it can grow." Right? It can end up, completely eclipsing Games Workshop if it got the right advertising and right people behind it. This is why I am always pro talking about other companies or showing off their models, and I've stopped showing off Games Workshop models. I want you guys to see that. And again, if you're talking about them, you're making videos about them, either good or bad. You're not talking about the other companies. You're not making videos about the other companies. Yes, I understand that you're going to take a shot in hits and maybe even lose some subscribers because you're not talking about Games Workshop, but that is the risk everyone's got to take. Because if you want the hobby to grow, you've got to start talking about other things, and Games Workshop doesn't want you talking about them. Even you 3D printers, you're not immune from this. You're being just as manipulated. Yes, they go after 3D printing people who sell them, but if you make your own, they do not care. If you're there in your own home, making your own 3D Space Marines, your own 3D Space Marines, they're all 3D, your own Space Marines, your own Dark Elder, your own Chaos Beastmen, doesn't matter. If you're in your flat, in your home, and you're not selling it, and you're making it for yourself, they do not care. Because what you're doing is you're playing their game still, and you're not playing someone else's game. Again, this is what Games Workshop want. It's not that you're not giving them money, it's that you're not giving their competition money. I know. Okay? So, again, like I said, this is people who 3D print in their own home, not the people selling it. That's a different kettle of fish. Anyway, so, with those things in mind, you understand that at this point, Games Workshop just doesn't want you talking about anyone else, because if you're talking about anyone else, you're not talking about them. They will lose interest and whatever. Doesn't matter. And people are going to go to other companies, which is absolutely what everyone should be doing. You cannot just stick with one company. Sorry about this. Anyway, and then there's this other point. Now, this is why I think there's people in the anti which are either being most extreme tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, being paid by Games Workshop, or are just plain stupid. I'm sorry, but if you say the next following phrase, I think you're either paid by Games Workshop or you're stupid. And there is no in between for me. That is, if you leave Games Workshop, you're running away. No. What sort of mentality is that? A company that is dropping quality, is not as good as it was. You have better games, better minis, everything else. But if you're running away from one company, go to another, that's what it is. It's cowardly. No, it's not. It's knowing what your money's worth. If you're not buying if you're not buying anything from a company because they aren't producing what you want, that's never a bad thing. That is capitalism. That is how it works. Company produces, you buy. If it doesn't produce what you want, you buy elsewhere. And if we take this logic outside of wargaming, let's take comics. Marvel produced some really poor comics to the point Disney was threatening to shelve the whole comic book line. All of it. Batman. Damn it. I'm sorry. I'm reading Batman at the moment. I do apologize. Spider-Man. Punisher. That's actually the one that was on my head at the first time. By the way, it was Punisher, not Batman. X-Men. Blade. Okay? They were threatening to shelve every single comic because it wasn't making enough money. And now, because it was making so little money, we've suddenly got the Ultimate Universe, which is absolutely fantastic. And I can see if Marvel doesn't continue on with that, we're going to have another issue with Marvel because that's a fantastic universe. It's a fantastic run. But they're also doing very well with their Marvel versus Predator or Alien. These are good books. Captain America versus Alien versus Captain America, Alien versus Avengers, both phenomenal books. Spider-Man versus Predator. I'm not a massive Spider-Man fan. I prefer Blade. I prefer Midnight Suns. I prefer the darker side of comics. Always have done. I mean, I've got nothing against Spider-Man. It's enjoyable to read, but given my preference, it would be something darker. But everything else is really good. You had the Rain and Hell miniseries on Daredevil, and that was another good run. You had the Blade miniseries, again, a good run. And we see this constantly, that we're getting good stuff from Marvel because they had to start making money. Yes, there's still duds out there on a lot of their mainline stuff, but they are improving from what they were a year ago. And that was because people were going, I'm not buying you anymore. I'm going elsewhere. Maybe DC, maybe Image, maybe Valiant, Dynamite. That's what happened, and that's what is important. So when people say, you're running away from Games Workshop, you're running away, it's cowardly to go to a different company, that is either you're either paid to say that or you're stupid. I'm not even saying ignorant at this point. I usually go, it's stupid. It's a stupid comment. If you want wargaming to grow, you go elsewhere. And this is how we can fix the problem. And people are, this is why I'm saying you're being manipulated, because there's this mindset that it's only Games Workshop. That's all the hobby has. Games Workshop is the hobby. Games Workshop is not the hobby. The hobby is wargaming. It covers many different branches and many different companies. And this is all I need to say. It feels like the chuds, whatever you want to say, are being manipulated into not stopping playing. You said, like, well, I 3D print and I play my games. It's like, yes, but you are still playing Warhammer. Do you not understand that bit? You're not giving your money or your time to a different company. OPR did a good job with this, and I'm absolutely happy that they are growing. They're just saying, use your Warhammer models on our games. It's great. And our rules are free. Have fun. Have at it, right? Great idea. I think that's phenomenal. But even then, we're seeing a lot of OPR dying down because people are sticking to Warhammer. They stick into OPR. Oh, I can't find a game. It's like, dude, seriously, it's one-page rules. Print off the rules. Give them to your print off the competition. Print off. I'm sorry, my throat is really sore. I do apologize about it. Print off the rules and give them to your opponent. Look, we're not playing 40k rules. Here's the rules. This is what you need to know. Here's the rules for your army. This is what you need to know. You don't need to do much just to get people to play one-page rules. Same with Wild West Extras. You say, look, I got 2 posses here. And actually, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 posses. Actually, a lot more than that, but I just count factions there, by the way. You got 2 posses here. Here's the rules. They're free to download, and there you go. I got dice. I got everything. That's all you need. You can easily get into any other company and game because they are focusing on getting people in with very low prices or very low entry fee to put in. But yet, people are still going to be there saying that, oh, you've left Games Workshop. You're a coward. You're running away. No, I'm not running away. I'm going to somewhere better. I think this is it. Or, they just somehow always want to excuse their behavior of sticking with Games Workshop while constantly complaining about it. If you're going to complain and stay there, you're an idiot. It's like poisoning someone else and poisoning yourself and expecting someone else to die. Is a good phrase for that one. You're expecting Games Workshop to, lose market value while you're still playing their game, while you're still buying their miniatures, while you're still reading their books. And you're going, look, I don't like Games Workshop. I 3D print, but you're still playing Warhammer. You understand where the problem lies. If it lies with you, it's a manipulative tactic where Games Workshop are literally getting you to play their games and not play anyone else's, and that's it. And we hear 100 excuses. I cannot find other games. They're easier to get. I can't find opponents. All of this. It's like, oh, the law's not very good. It's like, dude, there are books and novels for every game I play. You know? Wild West Exodus has a load. Even some are non-canonical, they're still available. Mantic has a load. Conquest has just released a brand new lore book. There's stuff out there for you to purchase if you want to get into the lore. It's nothing new. Conflict Boy 7 has novels. BattleMech has video games and books and comics. There is so much out there for you to get into the lore. And just to finally wrap this up, because I really should, I think the other way you can see the manipulation tactics, in my opinion, again, this is all opinion, the whole video is my opinion and hypothetical, is when it comes to this hypocrisy with the anti-GW law. And like I said, I am going to be focusing on the other side on Thursday, okay? This is not a one and done deal. I have to cover both sides. It's just that both sides of, well, we're at 16 minutes and my throat is killing me. And that is, I've never seen anything as unique as Games Workshop, well, in the next breath saying they steal ideas from everyone else. Like, it's either unique or they're stealing ideas. It cannot be the same thing. I understand that they can make them into a new thing, but if they're constantly stealing, if you're, as they're saying, they're stealing new ideas, but you're sticking around because it's so unique, it cannot be both. If it was unique, they wouldn't be stealing ideas. If it was stolen, it cannot be unique. It's one that cannot be the other. These aren't equal to each other. They cannot be the same. Either be ideas of their own, or they're taken from other places. So there you go. Like I said, it feels like I said, this is all my opinion, and that's it. But it looks like they are manipulating, in my opinion, you guys on the anti-side. They're getting you not to talk about other games. They're getting you to continue playing their games, whether you 3D print or not. They are getting you to belittle people who leave the company, who leave the game, saying, oh, you're running away. Think about that. What sort of mindset is that? And, you know, they are either stealing ideas or it's unique. There's always some sort of excuse you can fold out just to make sure that you are correct in this assertion. Anyway, my throat's killing me. I'm going to stop talking now before I lose my voice completely. Have a lovely day. Hope to see you all again soon. If you wish to support my channel, as always, there is Whaling Games down below for up to 20% off and free delivery after £20. There is also a point system there as well. They have Mantic, they have Conquest, I think they have BattleMech now as well. They got loads, absolutely loads. They've got the Batman, Fallout, Skyrim, loads of stuff down there. Most of it is at a discounted price. Definitely worth a gander. There's Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, mangas. You can check the sales section out. You always find something really cool in there. So if you want to try reading something new. There's my merchandise. The links are in the description. If you want to see Little Red Riding Hood, go absolutely ham on some Lovecraftian werewolf cyborgs. I'm always changing that around, but it is what it is. And there's a little anthology comic as well. If you want to pick that up, that's a cheaper one of the two. Third one will be out next December at latest. So I'm giving myself a year. There won't be a Kickstarter to it. It will be on the same site, the same page, all right? That's what it's going to be on. I'm not doing Kickstarter. I'm not doing Indiegogo. I don't want you to give me money before I make it. I want it made before I sell it. And that's what I do. So it's not Kickstarter. It's not that. It's lulu.com, which means you buy the product. And that's it. It's not a Kickstarter. There's Skyforge, a good friend of mine. Let's get a Google algorithm. And finally, Patreon. Right, first things first, I'm just going to do your names when I check Patreon. If I'm a little bit slow, it's because I'm not checking Patreon. That's it. But your names are going to come up in credits now. I'll see you all again soon. Have a great day.